Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm Jordan at Afterburner Automation, and today we're going to be walking through the first of two courses on the PDF package. By the end of this course, you should be able to use the PDF package to extract fields from standardized PDFs, as well as split and merge PDF documents. PDF documents, or portable document format documents, have been in use since around 1992 and are extremely widespread across multiple industries due to their flexibility. PDFs can store text, images, and interactive elements that make them useful for standardization. On top of that, many scanners used to digitize hard copies of files save the resulting scan as a PDF, so there are a lot of PDFs currently out there and the number is expected to grow. Up until fairly recently, this presented a problem because many early tools that automate data entry are unable to interact with PDFs. That's because the data is very customizable compared to other file types, like TXT or CSV, and so a visual component is usually required to understand what the PDF is saying. However, A360's PDF package was built to use optical character recognition technology, OCR, one of the AI technologies I mentioned in the AI and RPA course. This technology allows A360 and other tools to see what's on the PDF, extract that text, and put it into a format where rules can be applied to it. That means that the PDF package will be your very first experience with intelligent automation, which is the combination of AI and RPA. One important thing to note with this package, and any other package that uses AI technology, is that it's not perfect. When a computer uses visual recognition to find something, it's possible that it can make a mistake, just like we can, so be sure to validate any data you get and be careful with how often you use these commands. Let's get started. First, make sure that you log into the control room and navigate to the automation section, like we've been doing. Then, navigate to our Citizen Developer folder and create a new subfolder called PDF 101. Let's create a new bot within that folder. For this course, we're going to pretend that we work for a real estate office that handles rental units. When a property is rented, we need to download the rental applications of each tenant and put their information into a CSV file for all tenants. Then, we need to pay each real estate agent for each tenant that they bring us. Each application has an author name in the document properties that we can use to tell which real estate agent it belongs to. Each tenant application will also need to be saved in a folder for this real estate agent so that we can ensure they're paid at a future date. Finally, each application is 2 pages. The first will have the information we need, while the second will have a photo of the tenant. We need to take the second page of each application and combine it with the other second pages of the other tenants so that they can be uploaded to the rental community page. So we have 3 goals for this bot. Put all application information into a single CSV file, save the tenant application to the real estate agent's folder, and separate the photo page from the applications and merge it with the others. Before we get started, you'll need to download the important links TXT file from the Resources tab below this video player. It has a few URLs that you'll need for this bot to function, so go ahead and get that downloaded and in front of you so that we can move on. Anyway, back to our new bot. Since we're dealing with rental applications, let's call it CD19-rental applications. Once you've made it to the RPA workspace, let's start by downloading the files we need. In the important links TXT file I told you to download, there should be 4 URLs that contain the 4 rental applications we need. Let's start by downloading those so that we can interact with them. We could use 4 browser download file commands to do this, but if we look at the URLs, we see that each one is exactly the same except for the number. Application 1, Application 2, etc. With that in mind, it sounds like we might be able to use a loop. So let's head back to our bot, and head over to the Actions sidebar and find the loop package. Then drag a loop command into our code. It's already set up to loop n times, so we just need to change the number from 10 to 4, since we'll be looping 4 times. Also, since we need to know which iteration of the loop we're on in order to download the correct file, let's use the Assign the Current Value to a Variable dropdown. We don't have a good variable for this yet, so let's click the Create Variable icon. It automatically names our variable counter, and that works for how we're going to use it, so we can leave it that way and click Create and Select. So now, let's download the file. We can go back to the Actions sidebar and grab a Browser Download File command, just like we did in the last course, and then drag it inside of our loop. Before we fill out the URL of the file field, you might remember that our counter variable will be a number type variable, which we can't use in string fields. We know that the URL of file field requires a string because it has the double quote icon on the left-hand side of the field, so we'll need to get our counter variable into string format. Let's head back to the Actions sidebar and search for the number package. Then, grab the toString command and drag this one right above our Browser Download File command, and then the options will pop up in the right sidebar. For the Enter a Number field, let's click inside and press F2. Then, select our counter variable. We don't need any decimals, so let's leave that field set to 0, but we do want to assign the output to a variable, so let's click the Create Variable icon again. This will just be a string version of our counter, so I'm going to call this one counter string. Now we're ready to fill out our Browser Download File command, so let's click on that to open up the options. For the URL of file field, open up the important links txt file and copy any one of the 4 URLs. Then paste it into that field. Right now, it's pointed to a specific application, so let's just replace the number of the application with the counter string variable. And when I say replace the number, I mean the number right before that decimal point, just after the underscore, that says 1. Then, press F2. In the list of available variables, let's select our counter string variable. Now, each time our loop iterates, we'll be downloading a new file, but where do we store it? For the Save to Location field, let's click Browse and create a location to store these, like we have been doing. In the Select File window, we'll navigate to the desktop and create a new folder called CD19-Rental Applications. Then, navigate inside of that folder. Click to the right of the new folder name in the address bar at the top of the window and copy that full path. Then, close this window. We can paste that path into the Save to Location folder and add a backslash, but we still need to give each file a unique name. Let's type application and then an underscore. Then press F2, so that we can again use our counter string variable. And then finally, we'll add .pdf to the end, since we're downloading a PDF file. Also, let's check the Overwrite Existing File box so that we won't have issues if we run this bot multiple times. Let's run the bot now so that we have access to these PDF files. Once the bot's done, the PDF file should be in your CD19-Rental Applications folder. Back in our bot, we need to start on our first major task, putting each applicant's information into a single CSV file. To do that, we'll first need the data from the application, so let's learn our first command from the PDF package. Let's head over to the Actions sidebar and search or scroll for the PDF package. When we open that up, we'll see a few options there. Extract text might sound like what we need, but this command actually does something a bit different from what we want. So let's instead choose extract field and drag it over into our loop, but underneath the browser download file command. The extract field command allows you to identify custom areas of your PDF where text is, then extract that text into a variable. I'll go over extract text in more detail in the junior developer learning track, but for now, just know that it basically extracts a lot more than what we need and puts it into a format that's a little more complicated to deal with, so we'll leave that one alone. In the options sidebar on the right, you'll see that we first need to supply the path to the file. Just like most commands that let us select a file, we can choose from either control room files, desktop files, or variables, but let's stick with what we've been using and select desktop file. We could click browse and navigate to one of our downloaded files, but we would need to change the file name again to use our counterstring variable, and in the process we might accidentally make a mistake. Instead, let's go back to our browser download file command and copy the location we saved it to. Then, paste that back into our extract field command. Underneath that, there's an option called File is Protected. This option is necessary if the PDF is password protected. In our case, it's not, but if I were to click yes, there are fields here for either the user password or the owner password, depending on how the file's set up. Like I mentioned, ours doesn't have a password, so I'll click no. The next option is the Extract Fields option, which is the meat of this command. This is where we'll define the fields we want for extraction, so let's go ahead and click Open PDF Viewer. This gives us a pop-up window where we can select a PDF file. We can select either a control room file or a desktop file, and we can give it a password if we need to also. We already downloaded our files, so let's select Desktop File and click Browse. Once the Open window appears, navigate to the desktop and open up the CD19 folder. We can select any one of the 4 files, because this part is just to tell the bot what fields to look at in all of the files that it opens. I'm going to select Application 1 and press Load. This brings up another screen where we can see the 2 pages of the PDF on the left sidebar. The current page in the middle and the fields we've chosen on the right. We haven't selected any fields yet, so this part's empty for now, but we can fix that pretty easily. In the middle section, you'll see that we have 3 fields: first name, last name, and email. We need all 3 fields, so let's start capturing them. To do that, we need to look up near the top of the window for the Draw a Region icon. When we click this, our cursor changes so that we can draw a box around the area we want to capture. This particular PDF makes it really easy for us by having boxes already drawn around the data we want. But if it didn't, we would just need to make sure that we drew the box large enough so that it could capture any possible text, but small enough so that it doesn't capture the label of first name. Go ahead and draw the box around that first name field. Once you've drawn that box, another pop-up appears, asking us to either add custom region or cancel the selection. This is what we want, so I'll click Add Custom Region. Another pop-up appears with the X and Y coordinates of the value we selected, as well as the page number and a value preview of the text that it was able to see. In order to access this data later, we'll need to provide a key name at the bottom. This will be our custom label for this field, so let's keep it simple and just call it first name without any spaces, and then click Close. Now, the right sidebar has been updated to show our first name region. If we needed to remove that field or edit it at all, we can click on the 3 dots to give us those options. Next, let's get the last name field. We'll again click on the Draw a Region icon and then draw a box around the last name field. We'll select Add Custom Region when that pops up, and when the Custom Region window appears, we can give it a key name of last name without spaces, and then press Close. Finally, let's grab that email field. we'll click on the Draw a Region icon again and draw a box around the email field. Then we'll select Add Custom Region when that pops up. And when the Custom Region window appears, we can give it a key name of Email and press Close. If we look at the table of extract fields on the right, we'll see our 3 selections. If for any reason the fields didn't look right, we would need to delete them and redraw the region, but everything looks good, so let's click Close in the upper right-hand corner. This brings us back to our PDF command, where the last option is Save the output to a variable. We have 2 options here, multiple variables and dictionary. Dictionaries are a little advanced for this course, so we'll skip that one and keep multiple variables selected. This option allows us to assign the value of each field to an individual variable, which is super useful since we have 3 of them. To get started, let's click Add Variable Mapping below the empty table. The variable mapping window appears, and it asks for a key and then a variable to map to. If you remember, we gave each of our fields a key name when we drew them, and in fact, you can see them to the right of the pop-up. Let's start with first name. I'll type that into the key field, without spaces, just like we defined it. Then, we need to map to a variable. If we open the drop-down, we'll see that we don't currently have a suitable variable for this, so we can click on the Create Variable icon to the right. You'll see that this will automatically name our variable first name, just like the key, but we can change it if we want. I'm going to leave it as is, since that's a really clear variable name, and then we'll click Create and Select, and then Add on the variable mapping pop-up. This mapping shows up in the table on the right sidebar, mapping the results of the first name key to our first name variable. Now we just need to repeat the process with last name and email. So we'll click Add Variable Mapping again, put last name as the key, and click the Create Variable icon. It again automatically calls our variable last name, so we can click Create and Select, and then Add. Let's click Add Variable Mapping one last time, but this time, when the window appears, let's leave the key field blank. Instead, let's start by clicking the Create Variable icon. You'll notice that since we didn't fill out the key field, our new variable doesn't have a name. We'll go ahead and manually type email here, and then click Create and Select. But you'll notice that we still have to type email into the key field. In a situation like this, where we only have 3 variable mappings, it's not a big deal to type each name twice, but if you had several dozen mappings, it might pay to type the key first so that you can save time on variable creation. Let's click Add now to finish this up. Now our extract field command is complete, but we need to log it to our CSV. Like we've been doing with our previous bots, we'll want to make sure that we also log the headers if the file is brand new. So let's start by checking if the file does not exist. We'll drag an if command from the Actions sidebar and put it just below the extract field command. For the condition, we'll open up the drop-down and select File Does Not Exist. For the file path we're checking, we're going to use the same folder where we store the applications. So let's copy the PDF path from the PDF extract field command just above, and then paste it into our if command. We're checking for a CSV file that holds all tenant info, so let's replace the application counterstring.pdf file name with alltenants.csv. I'm also going to go ahead and copy this full path because we'll need it for logging in the next 2 commands. Now, we need to log the headers if the file does not exist. So let's head back to the Actions sidebar and grab a log to file command. We'll drag this into our if statement, and when the options appear, we can paste the path that we already copied from our if command into the file path field. For the enter text to log field, we know we have 3 headers, so let's put them here, separated by commas. Last name, comma, first name, comma, email. We don't need to append a timestamp, and if the file doesn't exist, it won't matter if we're set to append or overwrite, so we can leave the rest of this alone. Now, we can log the information that we extracted from the application. To make this easier, let's click anywhere else on the main workspace so that we save our log to file command, then click back on our log to file command on line 6 and copy it. Then paste it right below. This puts it inside of the if command, but we want to log this information no matter what. So let's click and hold that command, then drag it to the left just a little until it's outside of the if command but still inside of our loop. Our file path is already set up, so let's delete the headers in the enter text to log field. We can go ahead and press F2 and insert the last name variable. Then add a comma and press F2 again. Now we'll insert the first name variable, add another comma, and press F2 one last time. The last variable we need to insert is email, so we'll do that here, and when we're done, we should see our 3 variables separated by commas. Again, we don't need a timestamp, but now we know that the file exists, so we need to make sure we're appending to it and not overwriting it so that we don't lose any data. One thing you should know about the extract field command is that it typically adds a new line after the text it extracts, which will screw up the formatting of our CSV, so we need to make sure those new lines are removed. This is a bit beyond what I want to teach you in this learning track, but there's a string command called trim that will remove those spaces, and we can actually do it inside of our log to file command on line 7 by going to the last name variable and clicking between the last letter of the variable and the last $sign. Then type !trim. You'll see a little box pop up that describes the command, and if you press tab, it'll add it to your variable. So now it'll be logging the last name variable, but trimmed of spaces and new lines. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the first name and email variables in this command. That takes care of our first major task, logging customer info to the alltenants.csv. So now, let's work on getting the files stored in the real estate agent's folder. Like I mentioned before, the author name in the document properties will be the name of the real estate agent. So all we need to do is get that property from the PDF. To do that, we can use the get property command in the PDF package. Let's go to the actions sidebar and search for the PDF package. Then, grab the get property command. Drag it just underneath our log to file command on line 7. This command is fairly simple. We just give it a PDF path and then output the properties we want into different variables. But there are some nuances here you'll want to hear about, so let's do this together. First, let's get the PDF path. We're using desktop files for these commands, so let's select desktop file, and then we need to go back to our PDF extract field command on line 4 and copy the PDF path so that we can paste it back into our get property command on line 8. This file is not password protected, so we can leave that set to no and move on to the assign PDF properties option at the bottom. Again, we can use either dictionary or multiple variables, but we'll select multiple variables since we haven't learned about dictionaries yet. This works just like the variable mappings in the extract field, so let's click Add Variable Mapping. The variable mapping pop-up appears and we need to give it a key, but how do we know what the keys are for these properties? In our extract field command, we define the keys, but this time they're predefined. While there's a note below the Add Variable Mapping button that tells us what properties we can retrieve, it doesn't give us the key names that we actually need. For those, we need to go to the documentation site for A360. Fortunately, I'm not going to make you find the specific page you need. Instead, I've already included the URL in your important links.txt file under the label Get Property Documentation URL. Let's go ahead and copy that now and paste it into Chrome. This takes us to the documentation page for this specific command, where we'll see that they use the key names PDF title, PDF file name, PDF subject, and PDF author. Please note that these are case sensitive, so the PDF part has to be in lowercase, the first letter of the property needs to be uppercase, and then the rest is all lowercase. Back in our bot, let's put PDF author as our key, since we're trying to get the author property. We then need to assign that to a variable, so let's click the Create Variable icon. It names our variable as PDF author, just like the key, and that sounds fine to me, so let's click Create and Select, and then Add to finish it up. We have the author name in a variable now, so all we need to do is copy the application to a folder named after the author. Sounds like we need a copy desktop file command. Let's head to the Actions sidebar and find the File package. Then, drag a Copy Desktop File command just below our PDF Get Property command. For the source path, let's copy the PDF path from the Get Property command on line 8. Then, paste it back into the Copy Desktop File command. We can also paste it into our Destination File folder field. But we'll need to add the author folder in there as well, so let's just click between our last backslash and the word application. Here, press F2 and select our PDF author variable to insert. Once we do, we just need to add another backslash after that variable. Then, select Overwrite Existing Files so that multiple runs of the bot don't cause any problems, and we're done. This command will automatically copy the application file to the author folder, but if that folder doesn't exist yet, it'll cause a problem, so let's make sure we create it ahead of time. For that, let's go back to the Actions sidebar and grab an if command. Then, drag it right before our Copy Desktop File command. For the condition, let's open up the drop-down and scroll down to the Folder section. Then select Folder Does Not Exist, since we only want to create the folder if it doesn't exist. For the folder path option, we can go back to our Copy Desktop File command on line 10 and copy the Destination File folder path. Then paste it back into the Folder Path section of our new if command. Then, if we remove the file name at the end, we'll be checking to see if that folder does not exist. If it doesn't exist, we want it to create the folder, so let's go back to the Actions sidebar and find the folder package. From there, let's drag the Create command into our if command on line 9. For the folder to create, we just need to copy the path from our if command on line 9 and then paste it into the folder field of our folder create command. We won't need to overwrite existing folders here, since this command only takes place if the folder doesn't exist, so we can leave that alone. That takes care of our second major task, so now let's finish this bot by separating the photo page from the application and merging it with the others. We can use the PDF package split document command to do this, so let's head over to the Actions sidebar and search for the PDF package. We'll drag the split document command out and put it just underneath our Copy Desktop File command on line 11. The Split Documents command allows us to take a multi-page PDF document and split those pages up into separate files, which is exactly what we need to separate the photo page from the application. In the options sidebar on the right, again, we can choose the desktop file option for our PDF path, and then we can copy the file path from our PDF extract field command on line 4 and paste it here. The next options are for passwords, but we can skip those two since our documents are not password protected, and look at the output file creation options. There are 4 options here, and they all act very differently. The first is number of pages per extracted PDF. This option divides a PDF evenly by whatever number of pages we give it. So if our PDF was 12 pages long and we set this option to 3, it would create 4 PDF documents that were each 3 pages long. The second option is single file with selected pages. For this option, we can put the page numbers we want, separated by commas, and the command will take only those pages from the original file and create a new file with just those pages. This is the one we'll be using, but let's go over the others before we do. The third option, blank page as a separator, will look at the PDF and create new files based on where the blank pages are. For instance, if we had a 6-page PDF and the second and 5th pages were blank, then the command would split this into 3 separate documents, one with the first page, another with the 3rd and 4th pages, and a 3rd file with just the last page. Finally, the last option, bookmark level per file, will split the file according to the bookmarks in that PDF. For instance, if you have a file that's bookmarked into chapters and then into subchapters, then the chapters are level 1 and the subchapters are level 2. If you set the bookmark level for this option to 1, then you would get a separate file for each chapter in your PDF. But if you set it to 2, then you would get a separate file for each subchapter. Anyway, we want a separate file containing just the 2nd page, so let's use single file with selected pages. For the value, we'll put 2 because we want the 2nd page. Below that, we need to set the folder path. I want to use the CD19 folder, so let's copy the path from the PDF path above and paste it here. Then, remove the file name at the end. This is the folder where the command will store our new split files. Then, we need to give it a file prefix. Whatever we put here, it'll add an underscore and then a number that indicates which one of the split files it contains. If we were splitting one file into 3, it would add _1, _2, and _3 to each file prefix. In this case, we're only splitting our original file into one new file, so the file will have _1 after the prefix. With that in mind, let's again paste the full file path here. But this time, let's delete everything except the file name. This leaves us with application_counterstring.pdf, but this command will automatically add the .pdf to the end, so let's remove that too. Since this isn't an application, but is instead a photo, let's change that name to be photo_counterstring. That means our first file that gets split will create a file called photo_1_1. The second will be photo_2_1, and so on. Finally, let's check the Overwrite Files checkbox, so that we don't get any problems if we run this multiple times. You'll see that below that, we have options to get the PDF properties again, which is super helpful if we want to combine the get property command with this split document command. Basically, it makes our get property command redundant, but since we already have it set up how we like it, let's just leave that alone. Now, our bot is almost completely done except for merging all of our photo files into one file. For that, we can use the merge documents command from the PDF package. Let's head over to the Actions sidebar and grab the Merge Documents command from the PDF package, then put it right after our Split Documents command on line 12. The first option we see is PDF documents, which allows us to select which documents we want to merge. So let's click Add PDF Document. Just like the other commands, we can select a control room file, desktop file, or variable. We're going to be using a desktop file, but we need the path, so let's close this window by clicking Cancel and open up our split document command on line 12. I'm going to scroll down to the folder path at the bottom and copy that path while also taking note of our file prefix, photo_counterstring. Let's head back to our Merge Documents command and click Add PDF Document again. We'll select Desktop File as our option, then paste the folder path in the field below. This is the folder where our photo files are stored, but we need to add the file name. We know from our split command that each file will be named photo_counterstring_1. So let's type photo_ and then press F2. We can select counterstring as the variable to insert, but then we need to add the _1 and .pdf to the end. The two options below are related to passwords, which we don't need, but the pages option after those is interesting. This option allows us to merge all of the pages of this PDF into the others, or to select specific pages that get merged. This would allow us to skip our split document command altogether, because we could choose to only merge the second page of our application PDF. But since we have that set up how we like, let's leave that for now and press Add. We can see that our document got added, but what file are we merging with, and where do we output it to? Let's start with the Output File Path option, since that'll be easier to figure out. We know we want it to live in our CD19 folder, so let's copy the path from the PDF Documents option above by clicking the three dots and selecting Edit. This reopens our Add PDF Document window, where we can copy the path to the CD19 folder and close this window. Paste the path into the Output File Path field, and then let's change the photo_counterstring_1 file name to allphotos.pdf, so that we know what the file's for. If we think about it for a second, this All Photos PDF would be the perfect file to merge our other files with. Let's go ahead and copy that output file path, and then click Add PDF Document above one more time. We'll select Desktop File again, paste in the All Photos path into the desktop file, and press Add. We then need to make sure we click the Overwrite Existing File checkbox, so that each time we merge a file with the All Photos file, it overrides the old one. Now this command is set up to merge our current photo PDF with the All Photos PDF. But what happens if this is the first file to do that? In that case, there may not be an All Photos PDF for it to merge with, so we need to make sure that file already exists. Let's go back to the Actions sidebar and grab another if command. Then, bring that if command right before our merge command. For the condition, let's open up the drop-down and scroll down to the File section and select File Exists. For the path, we'll copy the path to our All Photos PDF from the Merge Documents command. Then, paste it back into the file path field of our if command. Then we can drag our Merge Documents command into this if command, so that it only merges with the All Photos PDF if the All Photos PDF already exists. But what if it doesn't exist? We need to create that All Photos PDF, or it will never exist under the logic we currently have. So let's think about it for a second. If the All Photos PDF exists, we want to merge it with our current Photos PDF. But if it doesn't exist, the current photo PDF needs to become the All Photos PDF, because it's the only one in the file. We can do that either with the File Rename command or the File Copy Desktop File command. But since we already have a Copy Desktop File command in our code on line 11, I'm going to go ahead and copy that command. Before we paste it though, we need to go back to the Actions sidebar and grab an else command from the if package. We can drag that else command to the end of our code, but inside of that last if command, so that we have something that happens if the all photos PDF exists, but also something that happens if it doesn't exist. Let's paste our copy desktop file command inside of this else command. This copied command is already set up, but we need to change the file names. For the source file, let's change the word application to photo. Then, right before the .pdf, add _1. Then in the destination file folder field, let's delete the PDF author folder and everything after it. Let's replace that old file name with allphotos.pdf. Now, we have our All Photos PDF getting created if it doesn't exist, and then merging with the photo file if it does. Let's run our bot and see how it looks. This bot should run really fast, and when it's done, go ahead and minimize Chrome and open up your CD19 folder. Inside, there should be 3 folders named after the different real estate agents, each one with a different application inside, except for the folder for Stan, which will have 2. There should also be an All Photos PDF that has 4 pages, each with a different photo. There should also be an alltenants.csv, and if we open that, it should have our headers and the 4 tenants information in the appropriate columns. If you didn't use the .trim trick that I showed you earlier, then they'll be in the wrong columns, so make sure you use that trick. Finally, let's close this down. We should have the 4 applications that we downloaded, as well as the 4 photo files that we made with our split documents command. Great job! That's definitely the most complex bot we've built so far, but if you'd like to try some cleanup work, see if you can find a way to delete the original application files you downloaded, as well as the photo files we made with the split documents command. If you want to go above and beyond, see if you can figure out how to get rid of the get property and split document commands by performing both of their functions in the merge documents command. Again, congratulations! If you made it this far, things are starting to get tough, so be proud of yourself. And that's it. Now you know the basics of the PDF package, how to get fields and properties from PDFs, as well as how to split them into separate documents or merge them into a single file. Just remember that this package is based on a visual recognition AI algorithm, which can sometimes cause problems if things don't look exactly as expected.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. For more RPA training, check out the next video here, or watch everything in order right here. Subscribe to my channel for updates on new content, and become a patron to get access to personalized RPA support. But until next time, I'm Jordan at Afterburner Automation, and I hope this helps you build better bots.